All right, we're back out here where we went go hunting the first day. So I think we were here day 2 that time. I don't even know what day of the hunt it is right now. But Pete's opening up the gate here for this private property access. We're going to be hunting state property, but the access is through a piece of private property, like an easement type thing. So we're going to be heading up the mountain here. We're here about 2 hours earlier than we were last time, so hopefully we can beat the heat. I mean, we were exposed to the sun for over 8 hours last time. It was brutal. So if we can at least get up to quote-unquote the hunting area before the sun gets real high in the sky, we might feel a little bit better.
That was a baby.
Yeah.
So much for getting here early.
Come on, let's go.
If we could sign into that box, we could go along the riverbed to our right.
No, where's that white one going?
He's ready to attack.
Let's go, come on. There you go. Go. If he circles this way, go that way.
If he circles this way.
Yeah, if he goes that way, you go that way. We're gonna run into each other, knock each other out. Come on now, let's go. All right, come on. So just like day 1, once we got up on top of that ridge in that little saddle, the goats were all over that rock face. This was a different group than the first day, and this female here that's walking towards the camera, very unique fur. As she comes into frame a little bit more, you'll see that she's got really long hair on her back hindquarters and down her spine. Unfortunately, we were not able to put a stalk on these goats. By the time we had a game plan, they ended up working around the ridge. So unlike on day 1, where we focused primarily on this rock face, we decided to climb higher today. And we actually went up over the next ridge and across a couple more saddles. And it goes without saying, we found a lot more goats. So once we got up on top and looked into that next valley, we were shocked to see well over 50 goats just in this one little draw. Now, it goes without saying, this draw, in our mind, is unhuntable. You can't access it from the bottom, and you can't really access it from the top. There was one real nice billy goat in this group, and I don't have a lot of footage of him, but you can see him right here. It didn't take long for us to determine that, in our mind, these goats were unhuntable. We got a little bit of footage, tried to figure out a game plan, but we both decided to let's just move on to the next draw and see what we could find. So I just wanted to highlight this other ridge. This is to our south. We did not hunt this ridge. It probably would have added another 2 to 3 miles, but the entire time that we were hunting our ridge, you could look over and see hundreds of goats on that whole hillside. So I'm going to freeze the camera here a second, and the circle is going to show you where we were just at when we were observing that other draw where all those goats were. So once we moved up on top of this ridge, we hit another little saddle and we decided to set up a little observation post. I stayed up high, Pete stayed down below, and goats were popping out everywhere. So this is that south ridge again, and the camera's going to zoom in and pan to the right. There had to easily be over 100 goats just on this one ridge line. It was unbelievable how many goats were over there. While we were sitting here observing, I decided to set the camera up on a tripod, and honestly, it wasn't really hunting. I was just taking in the scenery, enjoying seeing all these goats, and then here in about a second, I got a little bit of a surprise. I heard a goat start screaming off to my left, and as I panned the camera over real quickly, I noticed there was a goat running right at me. Unfortunately, in the heat of the hunt, I grabbed my bow. I accidentally hit the record button on the camera, which stopped recording. So I have a little bit of footage here on my GoPro. So a lot of things go wrong here. Number one, I wasn't set up to even shoot. Like I said, I was observing the other side. Once the goat came in, my tripod was in my way. It was on my offside. I had to make some adjustments. Then the rock was in my way. I didn't have clearance on my limb from the ground, so I had to sit up on my knees. During all of that, I didn't even realize the goat spun as much as he did, and I pulled a shot back to the right. If you watch the shot here again in slow motion, if you look at the top left-hand side of the screen, you'll see my arrow comes out very crooked off my bow. So I'm pretty sure, though, even though I thought I stood up far enough, I think my bottom limb still hit the ground. Even with the bad shot and hitting it pretty far back, I did watch the goat run off into this ridge. It dropped down about 80 yards and ended up dying right there. Unfortunately, it was back in that valley that we videoed earlier that we just could not access to recover the goat. To say I was upset that we weren't able to recover the goat would be the understatement of the trip. But as the camera pans out here, the first circle is showing where I was when I took the shot. And then the second circle is going to show where the goat expired. We sat there for probably an hour trying to figure out a way to get in to get that goat. And there just was no way of doing it without putting ourselves at risk. So we decided to push up the ridge a little bit further, and we saw this large group of goats moving off that south ridge. Even though we couldn't get over to that ridge, we decided to see if we could access the area that they were leaving, and maybe there were more goats up higher on our side. So I was still sick to my stomach about not being able to recover that goat, so Pete took lead, and he created a game plan to see if we could find some more goats.
Big. Wow. Jesus.
I found there's a black one under the trees.
Yep.
Where's the brown one in relation to that?
Keep going left.
Same height?
Just work your way up to his left.
Oh, there we go. Here you'll see Pete. He climbed up this ridge to try to use some of the terrain between him and the goats. I decided to stay back with the camera, and our intent was for me to be able to film Pete the whole time stalking in, but he eventually had to go up over the ridge. So I did lose sight of Pete, but I was able to video the goats that he was putting his stalk on. Looks like he dropped his pack. Guess it's time to get serious. So, let's see, where'd Pete go? There he is. Let's see if Pete can make something happen. So as Pete is putting that stalk on, I look off to my right and I see these two large billies just perched up on a rock. They're probably about 150 yards from me, in some terrain that I could have put a stalk on. But again, like I said earlier, mentally I was checked out at this point. I was so upset missing 2 different goats on day 1, hitting that goat on this day, not being able to recover it, that the bow was, I think at this point, wasn't even beside me. I was just focused on videoing, just hoping that Pete would have an opportunity to release an arrow as well and possibly get it on film.
Just got a bunch of goats moving. They're running, so hopefully that means Pete shot. I haven't seen Pete in about 20 minutes. Once he walked over that ridge, I wasn't able to see him. But those goats that he was going after, I don't know if the camera caught it, but a bunch of them just took off up over the hill. There's still more goats feeding down off that ridge.
So as I'm filming these goats, I noticed this one, it's not moving. And as I zoomed the camera in, I could actually see blood from what I suspected was an arrow from Pete. Not shortly after this, I decided to pack up and head towards Pete's direction.
Alright, I'm pretty sure Pete hit that goat that I was just zoomed in on. I can't tell with my LCD screen on the camera because it's so sunny out. With my binos, it looks like I see blood coming out the side of it. So I'm going to pack up and start slowly moving his way to see if I can close a little bit of the distance, and hopefully that goat will be down by the time I get up there. There's so many goats in here, but man, you got to work your butt off to get in here. Can't be afraid of heights. Oh, it looks like the goat just fell down. Can't be afraid of heights. It's a butt kicker to get in here, but once you do get up here and get into this area, there's goats everywhere.
Holy cow!
Did he die yet?
Yeah, 3 arrows. Like, the first one I'm pretty sure was dead on. There was blood all over.
I saw him just standing there for the longest time.
Yeah, I couldn't see, and they were all there. I was like, man, let me put another one on. And he was laying down, like, you know, quartering away, 40 yards. And I was like, all right, took my time. And hit him mid-body, came out like the front. And I was like, oh, he's dead. He started like moaning. Still going.
So at one point,
And I was like, I hit him again.
At one point he was just standing still.
After I hit him?
I don't know which. I couldn't see you shoot or anything. I saw them all take off, and I heard moaning.
Yeah, I probably shot.
And then I saw him come walking out, and he just stood there. And I could see blood back.
Yeah.
And then it looked like he sat down.
Yeah, he was facing this way when I shot him, and the blood is on the.
Yeah, I saw him. He was facing that way.
Yeah.
Are there any more up there for me to worth going up to?
Oh, I didn't. I should have just came back. But he was moaning. I had to go shoot him. Like 100 of them.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of little ones. I haven't seen any more billies.
Oh, all on the cliff. They're all just like staring at him. And then I got the little babies, and after I hit them the 3rd time, they came right above them. Yeah, it's loaded. They want to come this way. I was gonna go grab my pack.
Yeah, go grab your pack. I'll sit here and see if anything else comes back in.
Go past the tree.
Okay.
Right here. I want to show you where I shot him.
Yeah.
So I worked this wall, and I'm like pinned against the side, being super quiet. Worked my way all the way up here. I'm just peeking through. At this point, I think I'm kind of hosed that they were just either going to come here or end up off this backside, and I wasn't going to get a shot. But then I was like looking over here, and then I saw some like way over there. And all of a sudden I saw the top of the head of one working. There's like a cactus right there. So I was actually, where was I? I was on my knees in here, like this. And then So it looked like he was going to come through. And between this little bush and just background, I figured I'd get a shot. And then finally I was like, oh, I got to angle better. So I went like that. And he hopped up right on that rock.
So he was like inside 20.
Looking out, and then I was like, what pin? I was like, all 3 top pins right on him. And I thought the first hop looked like he went off the edge.
It was like all over again. Same thing happened to mine.
Yeah, and then when I heard him, I was like, I thought that shot. I mean, I shot and my bow went down pretty quick. And then there was another little one that I thought about taking at 25. I was like, nah, didn't want to. So 90% of the time I was standing right here.
After you shot?
Yeah.
So you shot
I saw him laying there. I saw
shot fairly quick once you got up here.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. And it's 30 yards right to the middle of that dirt trail right there. And I was like, all the goats, big billies, everything were up there, and like 50. And I knew he was a billy already, so I didn't want to shoot another one. And he looked about the size of yours. And then eventually I knew I was like, all right, he's not dying. So I just worked my way out around this edge. There's bubbles in that.
Oh, I see it. Behind that tree. Yeah, I had goats. I was videoing. He was sitting here and there was goats up there just looking down at him.
Yeah, I was right there watching that. There was like a white one down here.
There were a couple white ones that rolled in from the
I was
top.
like, wow, they're cool. I was like, I already have one down. And like, there was one right in front of me. They're going.
Lock off.
Bent it. Oh. That was like cutthroat.
So I wonder what rock I was at. Oh, I see.
Behind you.
I was videoing everything from right there. Good luck getting him out.
I think right here. Drag him right up.
We or you?
I'll drag him up.
You got a mouse in your pocket? I don't know if I'm getting off this mountain, Pete.
You?
Yeah.
Why?
It's a long way out.
Yeah, it's an easy walk until we get to the grasslands. Are you recording that?
Yeah. That was the easiest part to get in.
He's the same size as yours, right?
Your horns look bigger.
First I thought it was a monster. The first I thought it was little, but I didn't care. Then I saw him here, I was like, oh shit, he's huge. When I saw him again, he's little. But then again, it's a goat, so I was like, yeah, I guess. I wish you would have came with me. I mean, you would have either had it on film. Well, you would have had it on film, and then you would have shot your own, because they were just 50 yards.
Yeah.
Crazy. Let's get this over with.
Why don't you take your backpack off? Unless you want to leave it on in case you fall.
Fine. I got a billy goat. I think he's pretty decent.
He's good. Get his ass, get him up here.
The laying.
Now we get to spend the next 2 hours taking photos.
See all these fires that were up here?
Yeah, see all the burnt wood. See, look at the hole you sliced in.
Ah!
Eyes?
Yeah. Oh, that thing hits you right in the eyeball. Man.
So, I just start base of the neck. Go in.
I already got a cut going.
Cut down towards all the way to its tail pretty much.
On our descent back towards the truck, we did spot multiple groups of goats, but they were all in areas that we determined that were unhuntable. But then, as luck would have it, we spotted this group of goats in an area that Pete determined was huntable. I was hesitant, I wasn't feeling great, I was low on water, I was probably getting close to heat exhaustion, but Pete encouraged me to give it one last shot.
Black one to your left, straight ahead.
We don't have a lot of footage of this last stalk. Pete was on the camera and he doesn't have a whole lot of experience videoing. As you can see here, he was struggling with the focus. But I do have some GoPro footage here that will show my last shot. This terrain was extremely difficult to bow hunt in. The shrubbery doesn't really show it in the GoPro, but it's about 4 foot tall. So a goat would pop out in the open like this one here. I'd range it, I'd adjust my pin, and then the goat would disappear. I spent about an hour and a half on this last stalk. Easily pulled my bow back 10 times, but the goats kept disappearing before I was able to release the arrow. Until this one goat here finally stood out in the open long enough for me to get a shot off. And just like on day one, this arrow missed its mark as well. That's a total of 3 misses for the trip. I just wasn't mentally and physically prepared for this type of hunting. Hawaii is a beautiful place to hunt, but man, you have to prepare not just physically, but mentally to be able to deal with the heat and the environment that is out there on the island of Oahu. After recovering my arrow, I decided it was time that I had to get back to my pack and get down to the truck. As you see here, I don't even have my bow in my hand. I didn't realize I laid it down, and Pete even had to ask me when it was time to go where my bow was. It took us a little bit, but we ended up finding it. I was definitely hurting from heat exhaustion at this point.
Where is it? All the way up here. That was a lot of goats in there.
All billies.
Yeah, did you see the ones run down from up here after you shot? I didn't even know they were there.
Yeah, I didn't either. And then he stood right where I missed, but it's thicker than this. You can't get any shots.
Damn.
They kept coming down the same thing, and I'd wait for another opening. There were no other openings. Or like they'd pop out in the open, I'd get the rangefinder, adjust my pin, and then you're gone.
Oh.
It was like playing whack-a-mole.
Even after a bunch spooked, there's another group like right here.
Well,
they have no clue.
This one up here had me pinged the whole time.
What's he going? Yeah, I heard that.
There was like, I had him closer from me to you, Pete, just walking around me.
Damn. I didn't stand up the whole time until I thought I heard you shoot, and then.
Did you get any video of me down there?
Not till you were walking off. Because if I would have just been standing up on this rock.
I don't think it bothers them. I mean, I was standing up at some points because it was like, I'm going after that goat. If I scare the other ones.
Yeah.
And they just like fart at me, and then.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
I think there's over 30 billies in there.
Yeah. That brown one with grizzly-sized legs, I only saw him that one time here. I didn't see him again.
There was a black one in there that like almost came like parallel to his head. He was so like bent.
Really?
I mean, you can't hunt that area. Like.
Oh yes, you can.
You have to sit in there all day and just wait for like.
They like hopping up on all these rocks, I noticed.
All right, well, Pete just signed us out. We have been on the mountain for 11 hours.
Damn.
11 hours exposed to the sun. How many liters of water did I have?
You put 4.5 or 5?
I don't know, a lot. I'm out.
Because I took 4.5.
Not feeling real well again. I hit that pig, geez, I'm still calling them pigs.
Heat exhaustion there.
Hit that goat early on. Wasn't a good shot, but did watch it go down into an area that was unrecoverable. You know, it did expire after a little while. Not what we try to do, but it happens. And then we pushed even higher, and Pete did, how long do you think that stalk was?
I don't know.
I can go back and look at the video when I edit it, but
it was a while.
Maybe an hour. Got real close, real tight, big group of them. He dropped the billy. I haven't seen his GoPro footage yet, but he said some other ones came in, some small ones. Got that cleaned up, packed up, hiked out, looked for my rangefinder that I lost 2 days ago. And then we're about 9 hours into the day. We spotted some more goats down a little bit lower, but completely exposed in the sun on the side of the hill. I tried to put a stalk on them. That was probably an hour.
Yeah, that was a long time.
And it was just so thick. Got down in there. I had them all around me. Not a whole lot of footage, just my GoPro. And I missed one at 35. It's just, I'm really struggling with being fatigued and trying to make the shots count. So I guess I gotta do some practice in the yard, do some push-ups, do some jumping jacks, get the heart rate up.
Practice in the sauna.
Yeah, sit in a sauna and practice. It's definitely not deer hunting out of a saddle in Connecticut, I can tell you that. But we're going to take, I think, the day off tomorrow, celebrate Pete's going away, getting transferred to Charleston with some friends.
No go to Charleston.
Then I got a week of work here, and maybe we'll sneak back out before I head home. So there may be more hunting content after this, or this might be it. What do we always say, Pete? You watch the videos?
Do it then.
No.
Oh, right.
Hit the like button. Or what's Declan say? Smash the like button, hit subscribe, share us with one of your friends, and thanks for watching. Alright, day one here in Hawaii. Got in yesterday. Matt came in on Saturday. We're out here hunting with Pete, and where are we at today?
That's a secret. No, we're off the Poly Highway on Oahu.
Yeah, so it's a piece of bow hunting only, right?
Yeah, but,
So it's a piece of state property, bow hunting only. We just moved in here about 75 yards off the highway, and we're working off of a ridge system, or are we staying down low?
no, I think we're gonna go in towards the edge of this street.
Okay.
And into the wind.
You've killed ones here before?
Yeah.
This is where you killed both of them?
This side and the other side.
All right, so we got Matt on camera, Pete and I both on the bow, and we'll see if we can make something happen.
So you said
I care more about content than Pete being pissy. That's on the record. Can I help you? How's my hair? Like this would be a great spot to like sit back up in the tree. Like saddle on or something. This next right here. We can keep working his edge up and see what happens. Because we can still cover that base. I feel like this tree up all the straight. I think we should stay on that. You think so? Yeah, I mean, we're gonna make this cover the most distance and make the least amount of noise. Yeah, just keep looking. Shortly after finding that fresh sign, we ended up bumping into 2 to 3 pigs. Pete didn't hear them, but Matt and I did. He can't hear. Did you hear it go? Yeah. Sounds like it's back there now. Set it close. Yeah, ran that way. It's hard. We were really struggling with the wind kept swirling, so at one point it'd be out from our left and then be from our right, and it was really difficult to hunt. I heard it, but I looked at you and I was like, oh, he's not moving. It's like, my point man is deaf. So the whole day consisted of just slowly walking through the jungle, looking for a fresh sign. We would set up from time to time, but we ended up not getting on any other pigs. Do it, Dad.